Alright, welcome back to Shadow Empires. So first of all, guys, I know these first episodes are going to go pretty slow because I'm trying to explain my understanding of the game, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to need help eventually with this game, and I'm going to want to give you guys, especially those of you who aren't watching it, the tools to be able to help me understand parts of the game that I don't understand. So that's why I'm trying to transfer as much of the knowledge I have of the game to you before we get into like actual just turns of me probably playing the game. One thing I wanted us to look at here before we pass our turn, this is something I also like to do very early on in the game, is to take a look at your initial designs for your units. And I'm going to talk only briefly here because we'll come back to this in detail when we actually get unit design. But basically, what I want to get at a glance is to see what are my good units. And one of the main things I look at is the strategic or structural design. It depends. I don't know if this abbreviation has been confirmed yet. There's some things that are changing in the manual too, so you may also, just as a caution, hear me use obsolete or outdated terminology, like for example LIS. Which is being replaced by the term logistics points, which is a very good idea. So thank you to the developer for doing that. Anyway, structural or strategic design here. What I'm looking at here is I want a number that's higher than 100. And the reason I care about this is the potential lifespan of this unit as we continue to develop it in our army. So none of these scores are like awesome. Like if you see something that's over 110, I'm usually just like stoked. I'm like, awesome, that's great. Even if the actual base stats are kind of low, that's okay because this never changes. But your weapon design, armor design, all that stuff you can get improved. Even your base design can improve through field testing. So this one isn't that important, but your strategic design, this never changes. So obviously our recon buggy, he's under 100. I'm probably gonna redesign this from scratch. But my soldiers at arms and my zero gun, I'll probably keep these guys and continue to upgrade them. Now next, base design isn't that important to my knowledge because base design is simply the number that is used to determine the strategic design, weapon design, armor design, etc. So even though I have a really high number here, 91 is exceptionally high. If you have like a 91 and roll your die and you roll a 1, then and you get a strategic design of like 92, well then that 91 didn't really help, did it? So that's kind of my feelings about that. But anyway, I'm looking here, the weapon design on our initial infantry, this is excellent. The armor design is mediocre, hit points is fine, and then the firepower, weight, and armor strength, all this stuff is pretty much set based on your weaponry. So pretty good infantry, I think. This is good. We're going to be feeling good going straight out of the box with this. If you got really crappy designs on all of your units, you might want to consider getting your model design and revise, like create new units from scratch. Like I said, we'll go into that later. Right now it's not a problem. That's something that I just wanted us to check going forward. So I feel pretty good about those guys. We'll take a look at the militia, and I'll just give you a brief glance at their stats. So you saw the weapon attack and all that, and the hit points and soft attack on that last one real briefly. If we go and take a look now, hang on one sec, we're in the time of confidence. We're getting these, finally we got a spy card. Unit with low supply. Who's got low supply? We are all first, oh, it's our adventurer party, of course. Hold hex, yep. I'm sorry, that now just threw me off base. What was I? Oh yes, we were going to look at our militia units for an example. So this is a rifle militia, and as you can see, his attack value soft and soft defense versus hard attack and hard defense. This is basically like your kind of armor piercing attacks. Like this is how well this does against hard armor. And then this is how it does against soft units, which is basically, to my knowledge, infantry. Everything else in the game, I think, has armor. And anyway, so we can take a look at this. These are his hit points. Actually, his hit points are higher than my... Okay. Is that true for all the... Yeah, wow, okay. Well, maybe... maybe I was too dismissive. So we have... soft attack is obviously higher here, 2449, right? 2449 versus 40. So let's take a look at that again real quick. Yes, the attack value is better, but the hit points on this guy is much higher. Okay, anyway, as you can see, the indies moved over here. How do I feel about that? We're on inspect mode. Let's go to move. What I want us to try to do is get one of these goodies. We didn't get... Did we get our bonus from this yet? I'm not sure. Well, Wheezy. Okay, he's over there. Hopefully we'll get this goodie hut. These can give you really nice bonuses in the early on in the game. You should move here. You can get here. You can move and probably attack without penalty here. We need to take care of these indies. It sucks that I'm going to be using up my militia on this, but we need to get going on it. Let's take a look at our adventurer party. You can take a look at how their supplies are now starting to affect them negatively. So black because he's gotten literally no supplies. I had a random alarm there for some reason. The radiation, although I don't know exactly how, is going to be definitely hurting him. So his food is running out, basically. So he's out of food. Everything else he's still got, but without food, he's basically screwed. Let's see. I can't even remember what hex we needed to hold now, but I think it was this one, actually. Yeah, we're just going to let him hang out here, and he's just going to be there. I can't get him home. So we'll hopefully just try to finish this hex, keep it under control in the meantime. Okay, back over here. Is it time for us to look at combat? It may indeed be. You have slow readiness. You may be wondering what these numbers and colors mean. I find I have a hard time remembering the colors, but basically this little green box here tells you at a glance how good was his logistics supply. This is the UN unit counter. So infantry is a box with an X, motorized infantry. Anything motorized has an inner X, tanks have a ellipsis. Anyway, it's just like when you zoom out, that's what you'll see. Okay, let's see. The color here is his readiness. The number is the most important one. This is the strength. It sometimes correlates to the number of units in in this case, this is a brigade. Sometimes it correlates to the number of units in this unit box, but it's also just your military strength. So you can have 600 units, or 6 units here, as we do here, with 500 militiamen and 100 machine gun militia. But this number will be lower because of readiness issues. Let's actually take a look at that over here. So this guy's gone down to 5, even though there are 600 dudes in here. And that's just, his strength is going down because he's starving. Okay. So, and this has 1, 4, 5, 7. Yeah, okay, so that's why he's 7. You know, I'm tempted to go ahead and just do a military, a range bombardment on this guy because he's 27 strength. Let's take a look at the attack stuff here. We can stack in all of our units. We're going to get a flanking concentric attack modifier of plus 60%. It's very good if you can get on both sides of your enemy. Readiness modifier, our readiness is lower because we moved. So if you start in the same hex and then attack, your readiness modifier will be higher. Let's see, readiness modifier on hit points. Looks like we're missing hit points. Okay. Experience modifier, because we have good experience, and experience modifier on hit points, good. Max attack saturation. So here's the idea, is this is like your 300 situation where, like, you know, if you have 300 Spartans holding up a pass and you're sending like your entire army into a choke point, you know, they're just going to get lawnmowered. So maybe don't send your entire army, just send enough to, you know, like send 600 at a time to, you know, try to take down the Spartans slowly but surely. So that's kind of what this is saying. It's just like, you know, sometimes you don't send too many troops to do what a fewer number of troops will do for you. And this is the bonus from our OHQ and SHQ. We don't have an OHQ for this unit, so it's only the SHQ. So that's coming from his skills and to which units. If you have stances, that will affect it too. Cumulative modifier, I think that's just adding up all of these things. And then this is our offensive power versus our modified offensive power. And then this is what they have. Their defensive power, as you can see, is actually, its base defensive power is higher than ours. But after it's modified, it's still quite a bit lower, which is why we're getting this 2.9. Now, let's see if I can trigger this on screen. There's, yeah, do you see it? Our odds just went to 2.8 to 1 versus 2.9 to 1 versus 3.1 to 1. You guys are going to have to help me with this one. I don't understand how the same units but in different order can give you different odds. I understand that it's probably modifying these numbers over here, but I don't know what it means. Now, the only thing I can say in the game's defense, because this looks like a bug, I mean, if you're looking at it and you're like, that's buggy, I kind of agree, but the only thing I can say in its defense is all of this stuff is, these are kind of estimated. So your odds are a little bit estimated. You can go into a fight like this, and there's no way you should lose a fight at 3 to 1 odds, and yet you will, right? You'll end up, like, all your guys will end up retreating, and you're like, hey, what the hell happened? I thought we had 3 to 1 odds. And it's like, yeah, it didn't take everything into account, and these guys were able to push you back, and you retreated before they did. So at 3 to 1, in this particular instance, like I said, we can get better odds than this even. So we're just going to switch, and I know it does burn metal, but we're going to do a artillery bombardment, and we'll see what we can do. If we can lower these guys a little bit, or even just score some hits, that'll be good, and we'll wait for them to see if they try to counterattack us, and hopefully we can hold them off. Now, if they, what they'll probably do is they'll attack our motorized infantry, and if they do, they'll probably do some damage. Now, if they attacked our infantry here, I'm sure that on defense, we're going to be able to go with no casualties. If they attack these two guys, I'm probably going to lose a few units, but we'll just deal with that. We got to get these guys out of here. All right, guys, so here comes combat. I'm just wondering if I should switch it to turn-based or not. We'll try to do it in the replay. So here we go. Here you see your AP is going down with each shot. This is going to determine when they retreat. They retreated. Now, we did see a little puff of smoke over here. That meant we did hit one of these guys. We did not see all of these guys, though, because there's 27. You only get to see 3 of them here, and that's based on our recon. We only have a slight amount of recon. If we get recon score up to 400, which biker units and buggies will very much help you with, then we can see everything that's going on. Should we go into too much detail here yet? Is it overkill at this point? Like, we can do this later. We'll look a little bit here. So this is just a summary. Subformation type, irregular infantry, initial, afterwards. Now this is going to be based on our intelligence, right? Maybe we did kill a few guys, but they're not showing up here because we didn't have enough recon to see it happen. Our readiness, our experience went up just a little bit. Morale has stayed unchanged. Entrenchment stayed unchanged. That's very important. Entrenchment is is a defense bonus we had. Defender, initial, and current readiness went down. That's great. We want the readiness to go down. That was a big hit to their readiness. And their entrenchment also went down thanks to the artillery shellacking. And their morale went down, which is also good. That's what we want to be doing to deal with them. Oh, hang on. Where's history? You know what? We'll come back to it later. We're gonna keep it as a cursory overview there. We'll have plenty of time to come back and look in deeper detail at combat. Okay, so we're on a new turn. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but our private sector is building light industry. What they're going to be doing first is, if you look here on your assets, you're not going to see it showing up yet. You know, like there's no build queue set up for, like, our bureaucrat offices. We have a build queue, and in fact they're waiting on metal. Yeah, we're out of metal. So where's the light industry? Why isn't it showing up here yet? Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe what's happening is our private sector is taking their economy income, and I think what they're doing is they're saving up the money required to go to the trade market and buy the resources required to begin construction on the light industry. And then once they have that saved up, then they can begin building the light industry, and then you will see it show up down here along with the ones that we're building here as under construction. And then you need to make sure that they can still get the supplies they need, like specifically the logistics points and the workers, because they're going to need the workers also. Anyway, I hope that's accurate. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. Here, like I said, we are missing metal. Now, we are generating metal, and we're only short by 4, which means in the next turn we should get it. But as you can see, even though we had 1 turn left on the last turn, what we didn't account for, and that was a miss on my part, is we didn't have enough metal. We also didn't have enough industry points, it looks like. We paid... But we're there now, so we don't need to really worry about buying the metal at this point because we'll have enough in the next turn, at the beginning of the next turn, thanks to our scavenging, our private industry scavenging, which we're getting metal from them. Okay, we're getting it through the taxes, but I'm going to have to come back to and explain that as well because I want to review it a little bit more. But basically, the private sector, a portion of the product that they create is getting taxed and brought into my inventory, except... Interestingly, these guys make produce metal, right, rare metal, private, okay, this is a misnomer, but this is representing metal, this is representing rare earth metal, rare metals. So one thing I wanted to say about this that I didn't say initially is based on your start, I think it is a perfectly viable tactic, and we may do it ourselves, to nationalize the scavenging community. Now, how you do that is you go over here. When you have enough money, the nationalize button is highlighted, and we can nationalize this industry and take it away from the private sector. And they won't like it, but the thing we're going to get is we're going to get some juicy rare metals coming in. This stuff here in the early game, that can definitely pay for itself in terms of the 500 you spent to nationalize the scavenging, not to mention the fact that you're now going to be getting even more resources from this. So if you're in a pinch like it appears I am, and you didn't take economic counsel and you don't have enough metal coming in or enough oil, you can always consider, I think you can always consider nationalizing your scavenging community. One trap I want to warn you about is you can upgrade your scavenging community once you nationalize it, but all that's going to do is it's going to drain the resources faster. All resources, including mines, etc., drain at a certain rate. So there are times you want to improve it, but I don't think normally you don't need to, because like I said, all you do is you drain you scavenge in the ruins even faster, and then you run out of them, and you just spent resources to get more resources more quickly. Well, you don't get more resources, you just get the resources that are there more quickly, and then you're out. So yeah. Anyway, let's see, with the dome farm, this is another one that sometimes is worth nationalizing. I rarely nationalize my transport hubs. Sometimes I will build them and they will be in a zone capital as a nationalized industry, only because I was tired of trying to wait for the private sector to finally build it. So anyway, it's like, come on guys, build it. And then I see next they're building a police station. I'm like, really? A police station is more important than getting the transport hub? Thanks, guys. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. We have one decision to make. Steelfront demands that you hire their candidate. This will kind of make them a little happier. And we need recruits in our backlog. So I'm going to accept almost always, like 99% of the time, accept.
We'll go.
Steelfront is pleased that we accepted. Happiness of the Steelfront increased by 3, and any our land has reported to the reserve pool. Let's take a look at her and see if we want to replace anybody with her. So she likes enforcement. Capacity 2 is good. She's going to be our... Oh, covert ops 2. Or 12, I should say. What's our current advisor? He likes a lot of things. He's pretty easy to please. Oh, dude. Okay. Guess what, buddy?
Roger that.
I promise you no job. I will give you an OHQ job eventually, but for now I'm going to spend 4 political points to just get rid of you. He's going to be very unhappy, but he'll be okay. And let's see, the thing to keep in mind here is that the better your promise here, the less impact it's going to have on their morale, but you have to spend the political points. And we only have 21 political points, so I'm just going to say no job. I promise you nothing. You, sir, get nothing. Okay, so next turn we'll try to appoint her as my advisor and then stick her on... Actually, I did something stupid. And I'll make her the advisor to my director of the Supreme Council. And what I did that was stupid is I'm about to send a spy here, and this is being executed by Halkin, Zed Vega and Halkin, governor of Halkin. What? Really? What? No. Okay, there we go. Yeah, as you can see, our Supreme Council commander is the one who does actual spying missions. This is a minor faction we've discovered over here. This is still unknown, so it's showing up as non-aligned forces. This is also showing up as non-aligned forces in that zone. Let's go ahead and send a spy into the Togaliria territory and try to reveal some of it on the map. It's not urgent that we do this right now. Like, I wouldn't normally do this yet in the game just because, like I said, we're very low on political points. I mean, actually, to be honest, let's go ahead and take a look at our options. We don't need any of these things. We can already get rid of somebody in our pool for 250 credits. That's a little expensive at the moment. Shadow Diplomat, we don't need this quite yet. This is going to give a bonus on a roll for specific kinds of rolls, diplomacy rolls. I think, we'll go ahead and do it just so you can see. So this is how you spy. It's difficulty 44. We ought to pass. We have a plus 10 base bonus. Yeah, let's go ahead and execute.
Yes, sir. Roger
We roll an 81. Success. We managed to infiltrate a spy into Tolgaleria. Now, nothing immediately has changed, right? Don't see nothing. The next turn, beginning of the next turn, we will. Our final question, this isn't exactly, in my opinion, like Civ, where every turn you need to be building something, because, like I said, we don't even have enough metal to do so. And, for example, I'm not going to buy industry. We have light industry coming, which is already going to boost our industry points here. That's going to be great. High command, I wouldn't mind, but 4 rounds, it's going to tank our metal and our industrial points, and we do need to start getting our metal back. Logistics, no. We don't need no, don't even worry about this in the beginning. Agriculture, we can't upgrade any of these things because we need to nationalize them. Obviously, that's what it's saying. Only one agricultural thing can be in a hex. Let's click off of a hex and see if we have any options. So if we go over here, we could build an agricultural dome. Now it would be a national asset, which means we're paying full upkeep on it. Whereas with the private assets, we don't have to do that. It's too arid for either of these, but it's probably too cold as well. Ice mining, really? We can build ice mining here? That's interesting. Why? Oh, there is water. Level 9 water unlimited. Level 8 water unlimited. Interesting. Yes, now, hang on. Ease of mining this water resource. Is the lower level the easier? I want to say it is. That is what's making sense to me intuitively. Well, that's interesting. We have no problems building ice mines anywhere. And then the water resource here, normally it just means it's available. So on other planets, this is not the case. This is going to be your only source of water. But here we're doing just fine. Okay, guys. Well, another long explanatory episode before we come back and see what else happened. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and take our turn and see what our history reports gives us. Let's see if this guy attacks or not, and then we'll continue in the next episode. Okay, we'll also get to see if we get anything from those goodie huts. So it's showing up. I don't see the Indies moving yet, but that's up here. So, yep, there. Okay, he attacked. Oh, he attacked my militia too. All right. So we killed 700 infantry and we lost 100. We have 1 decision and 51 reports. We are entering the time of confidence. Our scav teams, finally. Ooh, cataphracts. Oh my god. This is great. Our scav teams found ancient and still functional weaponry near Texabig in the zone Halkin. This allowed us to let our reserve recruits form 10GR, Galactic Republic, cataphracts. That's a laser tank, guys. Militia lost their influence through their militia chief in your cabinet. Okay, so there is a guy who's your militia chief, and that affects militia. That's not great. I didn't really want to do that, but anyway. We're getting our new cards. No machines. That's fine. We'll buy those off the market if we need to. Oh, look at these goodies. So that's what we got out of our goodie hut over there. We have one decision, which is obviously I want to appoint you as my new advisor.
Order acknowledged.
Thank you. Then I want to, as promised, assign you... Where's my advisor? Yeah, you definitely are still...
Standing by.
You're definitely still going on my director of the Supreme
Order
Council.
acknowledged.
Okay, so we're spending a bit of our precious PP points right now. So anyway, let's see if we can find our history. Okay, so next battle, here we go. Let's play this battle. How do we... Okay. Can we not view it? Is this the most we get to view? So we killed 700 of their 2400 rifle, and then we lost 100 of our own rifle. Well, they did basically the dumbest and most fortuitous thing we could have hoped, but was there not a way to view this? Maybe there is. Maybe you guys will have to tell me. I thought play would do it, but maybe all we get is the summary. I don't think that's right. I think there's a way to do it. I'll have to show it to you later. We'll figure it out later, guys. So that's done with our history. We go back to our map. As you can see, these guys have gone down to 20, from 20 to 19. They're gonna not ever really replenish, I'm afraid to say. They're gonna be stuck here basically like that. I don't know how Militia ever replenish. I always have to do it manually. But you know what? It's okay. It doesn't matter. With our cataphract, so this tank is a laser tank. This thing is freaking awesome. It's only one tank, but it has got massive offensive power. And it's a laser tank, which I think means it's going to be using energy, which we have plenty of. So we're not going to be using our precious metal to fire off its shells. I am going to go ahead... we actually need to deal with this dude. Can we get over here? Maybe? Nope, not quite. Alright, well that's as far as he moves. The rest of this we'll deal with in the next episode. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and correct me on anything I'm missing in this episode, and I will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.